We're out in Death Valley National Park, and I actually buzzed out here to meet up with some friends to explore a couple mines, to video a couple small mines. They're not real big, but I thought they'd make interesting videos and take a couple days off. And one of my friends had gotten here earlier and was in that mountain range over there. And when he got to the bottom of it to head over here, he noticed his Jeep overheating. And so we were talking on the radio, and he discovered that on the back side here there's quite a large hole in like this row. And so what I did is I had him slowly fill it up with water, and I also had him vent this, put this wire under here so that no pressure could build in the radiator, and it would just travel back and forth between the tank, which really lowers the boiling pressure. But he was able to get it here, and the hole is so large that it didn't really matter anyway, but he made it here. He kept stopping and topping it off, watching the temperature. I think the way to go about doing this right is to actually pull this radiator out of here and try and fill it with epoxy. We carry epoxy out here. It's just one of the things you have to have, so I might look at that for a minute and see what it takes to get the radiator out. This is a pretty unusual spot for there to be a hole. When I get it out, you'll see. Was able to scrounge around and find this, so that any remaining water, there's probably not much coolant left in it. Got to show our environmental sensitivity in these videos, not that we're just pulling the radiator out and letting the coolant go into the ground. That's irresponsible anyway. Should probably also show there that we got the wheel chalked. Safety first and environmental responsibility. That's very important. Alright. You see right there is the nick. It's kind of interesting that there's a bunch of rocks down in the bottom of here. I wonder how rocks got up in here. You can even see it looks like there's some rocks embedded in the back of the radiator here. There is. That's a rock embedded in there. So I'm trying to figure out how to get this thing apart. It's not the best engineered vehicle I think I've worked on. They have the condenser for the air conditioner bolted to the front of the radiator, and it almost looks like, I mean, if this was most cars, you just unbolt this and lift the radiator out at this point, but it almost looks like you need to pull the disconnect the lines, or maybe there's enough flexibility here in this to where you can, I don't know, let me work with it. Right, the radiator is out, and to do this job you have to have this tool right here, and this tool pulls these little plastic push-in things that go through here, and it pulls these things right here, these plastic push-in things. They're all over this. They hold this whole thing together. Basically there's 5 8mm bolts that hold the condenser to the radiator. There's 4 in the corners, and then there's 1 in the side here, or there's 1 right here in the side that holds the lines to the radiator. And the rest of it is all just these plastic push clips. So you have to have that tool. That has to come off. The front grill has to come off, which again, it's just all plastic popped together. It's these little things right here. I'm going to assume that these rocks are what put the holes in the radiator. It looks like we got multiple leaks. It looks like we might have a leak here. It looks like we have 2 leaks here. It looks like we might even have a leak here. I think the thing is, the deal is at this point is to try and get a hold of the local Napa and see if they can get one of these and have someone drive into town and just get a replacement if it's possible. We're in a pretty remote spot, but we got other vehicles here. But that's it. I don't even know what year this thing is. What year is this thing? 2007 Jeep. It's what it takes to remove the radiator out here. So because I do so much of this off-road stuff out in the middle of nowhere, I carry a satellite phone, and I was able to call O'Reilly's, and O'Reilly's ordered the radiator without a credit card, and they'll have it at 7:30 in the morning. So we'll pick it up and put it in and go out and explore some mines and video some mines tomorrow. Okay, here's the new one. Came from O'Reilly. $235, lifetime warranty. It's the old one, it's a new one. Got the appropriate coolant here. So we're ready to reassemble this. Maybe we should do a time check here, see how long it takes to put it back together. There it is. Okay, so we got the 4 bolts in here. You have to be careful, there's a tab here. You have to clear that tab or else you'll bust it off and bend it like we started to do. Now we got to get this bolt in right here, and we had an issue. Where do we have an issue here? You got to make sure that these hoses right here line up. There's 2 clips on the side of the radiator, that those hoses are in those clips, and then it kind of all falls together. Okay, so what are the steps we took? Okay, radiator, then we made sure that the air dams were all put back on the sides, and we did the hoses, right?
We did the hoses, then we did the fan.
And then we did the fan, and there's three of those put plastic push things that go up from the bottom, and then we kind of pressure checked it just by blowing into it to make sure it was holding pressure. Then we put this piece, then the front, got the lights back in. Now we're going to put the air box, and I think that's it, isn't it? Oh, the overflow. We got to get the overflow. Just for the entertainment, I popped the inlet tank off. And it's not well known, but you can actually open these radiators up and clean them out and then put them back together. You just start pulling these little fingers up all the way around, and then you can get it up, clean it out, rot it out, and then just usually you could put this thing back down and slowly go around crimping these things one at a time back down. And I've seen cars where they were plugged with mud up this high, just solid mud. But this one actually looks pretty good. There's some few small pieces of rubber here in the bottom, but that's a clean motor, that's for sure.